Minecraft. Omnipotent is almost a good description of how I feel after a week on the Strangelands server. Let me show off my latest creation. It is I, Dr. Brian Lorgon 111, coming to you from the Strangelands server, and more specifically in the beautiful and magnificent Mesa Bryce biome. Looks really cool with all the colors and the spikes. It's amazing. I've been on the server. The server's been open for about a week. And if you're going to have a server that's been open for about a week, don't you think that it should have a fully functioning witch farm already? Why, of course it should. And so I built one. This is a witch farm, and I guess I'll kind of show you quickly how it works and what it does. Basically, there was a swamp hut here, because we're right on the edge of the swamp, kind of touching the mesa biome over here. And so the swamp hut was right in this location, and it's very ugly, but it's functional. Basically, we have some shifting floors. Pistons push the floors back and forth. We'll see that in a moment. And then witches will fall down into the water flow over here and fall down into a falling trap. And so I can show you how we can turn it on over here. It is very straightforward. There's a button right here that just causes a little redstone repeater clock to go back and forth and activate pistons on this side, and then activate pistons on this side, back and forth and back and forth. And so that's nice. If we come back around to the front, I used all the swamp lily pads for some nice footpaths along here, and we can see that the pistons just push the floor one way and push the floor the other way. And as a result, any mobs who are standing on it tend to fall through the floor while the piston blocks are being pushed. You can see that it's currently lit up right now, and that's because there are some holes in the ceiling that allow some sunlight down through. But I have a very awesome way to turn the lights off, assuming I can do this. Let's try to get the correct aim. There's a wooden button right up here, and if I work on my marksmanship, I'll actually be able to hit it. There we go. That then turns off the lights, so there's some pistons on the roof. And once that thing becomes dark, if we stand, right here, you can see some witches already spawned. And the witches fall through, and they fall through, and they fall down into the trap. And yeah, that's a witch farm. It was in pretty much the perfect location because there's a big bit of kind of like swamp and watery land here, and then the mesa was relatively flat over here, and I flattened it out. It's not perfect efficiency. There's probably still a couple little caves that I didn't manage to light underneath the ground, and there's still some more airspace that could be opened up to allow more witches to spawn, but it already works pretty well. Let's go ahead and head downstairs, and you can get a sense of just how well this thing is currently working. So this is kind of the access tunnel down to the bottom, and you hear witches going splat, as well as occasionally another mob. And we go through patches of kind of like how many witches come through, but you can see the witches falling through, they fall down onto hoppers, and then all of their loot got like a hopper system over here. And I've already cleared this out of glowstone and redstone once already, and so managed to get a stack and a half of glowstone and like a stack of redstone blocks or something, but this is filling back up again. And so that is great. But in addition to just the kind of common loot drops that you can get from the witches, there are some other things you can get from witches. Instant health potions are pretty easy to get just by killing them, but the crown jewels of the system so far, because no one has been to the nether yet, and so you can't brew your own potions. We don't have any blaze rods. But nevertheless, I have a fire resistance potion and a water breathing potion, which are some other rare drops that you can get from witches. And so in order to do that, basically what I did is, if I put some water down here, then any witches who fall will fall into the water, as you just heard. And so as a result, I can leave them alive. I also have a piston system here, which causes the ceiling right above the switch to close up. And so now you hear other guys dying down here, but I have this isolated witch. And so if I had, for example, a flint and steel, and I were to use a looting 3 sword, what I could do is set the witch on fire, and then as it's trying to drink a fire resistance potion, quickly try and kill it, and see if I can manage to get the fire resist potion. But you only have like a 2% chance or a 3% chance or something, even with the looting sword. And so you have to kill a bunch of witches that way in order to get a fire resist potion. But I have done that. And then the other thing that one can do. If I open up the ceiling again, all the witches who dropped on the ceiling, but you can see now it opens all the way back up to the top. The other thing I can do, in order to try to kill witches a different way, to get a different rare drop, is witches will drink a water-breathing potion if their head is underwater. And basically, if you kill a witch while it's drinking one of these potions, it has a very rare chance of dropping that potion. The looting sword increases the chances, obviously. We seem to have reached a little lull in the spawning, and so I'll wait for another guy to appear here. There we go. That did not take long. Alright, and so if I let these guys down, so they're standing on the bottom, I close it off so they don't have anywhere to go. There's no ceiling. You can see there's a bunch of dispensers here. The dispensers are hooked up to this button, which will release water. And so now they're drowning, and now they're going to be drinking water-breathing potions. And so if I kill them that way, there's a very small chance that I'll manage to get a water-breathing potion from the witches. And so that's kind of all the system that we have going there. And I just want to quickly check and see if we got any rare drops. We did not. Alright, but every once in a while you get one of those potions. And so, as a result of having set up this witch farm, I plan to open a shop in town, and I'll show you that. I've got my little enchanting station over here. Enchanted some very good boots, Lorgon 111 shoes, a very good sword who's called Ludi. I've got a good pick called Good Fortune, and then you may have already seen when I was shooting at the button in order to turn off the lights. I guess I'll go ahead and show off a little bit more of the redstone that's going on here. You may have already seen, yeah, occasionally I get spiders and creepers and skeletons and slimes who spawn in the trap, but it's about 95% witches, I would say. So there's wooden buttons up here, and a wooden button you can either press, or you can shoot with an arrow in order to press the button. This just connects to a monostable circuit. And actually, let me go ahead and turn off the pistons so this is not as loud. But we have already seen... So I've got a off switch here, which basically just moves a block out of the way. And once the block is out of the way, the piston, the redstone power can no longer travel through there. And then I could just push it back, and the next time I need to turn the system on, I just press that button again to turn the clock on. So that bit of redstone is very straightforward. And then there's redstone going around the sides, but it is merely for the purpose of opening up or getting redstone power to all the pistons. But then up here we have a basic monostable circuit, or a pulse generator, which turns the button press, which is, I guess, gonna last for a long time, actually, until this arrow despawns, since I've got an infinity bow. Yeah, with the clever name that I stole from a Joe Hill's idea. But basically, it hooks up to the redstone over here, which has a bunch of pistons. They are sticky pistons, and if you give them a brief pulse that comes out of the pulse generator, then when they push them once, I'll go ahead and just press the button. We get just a brief pulse. It pushes the block, but it doesn't actually bring them back, even though they're sticky pistons. And so when these blocks are here, no sunlight shines down into the system, and so even in the daytime, it is completely dark underneath the witch farm, and so the witches will spawn. And if you push the button again, then the sticky pistons will actually go and grab the blocks and move it out of the way, and light shines back down into the system. And yeah, those are kind of the only two bits of redstone. Definitely the hard part was the hours and hours I spent lighting up all the caves underneath here, as well as, you know, a few hours to build this, but it's a relatively simple kind of thing. Pistons on a couple of platforms, dig a hole for a falling trap, I had to clear out some of the water, and then put in a giant ceiling that is mostly half slabs, so that mobs won't spawn, and you saw a few torches up there around the pistons. But that is our system, that is our witch farm. And yeah, I may or may not, depending upon how motivated I feel, put together. I have hours and hours of footage of me just caving underneath and lighting up all the caves. I might try to put that together into a montage at the end of this video of me lighting up the caves for any exciting moments. You guys already saw an exciting moment back in, I think, Strangelands episode number 3. But I think I'll show off some of the loot that I've already brought into town with plans to make a shop. And so let's head downtown to spawn, and I'll see you guys over there. So here we are, back at Spawn Town. And every day that I come back here, there's a few more houses and floating islands and different things going on here. So at some point I'll have to do a tour. But I just quickly wanted to stop by over here because I put up a sign. I'm not sure where I'm going to build it, but for what I intend to build at spawn, yes, I'm going to build. I'm going to build something. Specifically, I'm going to build a shop. Brian's Bewitching Bargains, where I can sell all kinds of crazy stuff like this. And so there's the glowstone and redstone that I was bringing over that I already fished out of previous loot out of the witch hut, and some other things that I could sell. We have just kind of a temporary community farm going on over here. We're eventually going to move all these animals out of the spawn chunks, as well as kind of our temporary wheat farm. This was, you know, in the first like hour of the server when I started building the wheat farm here. And of course, for those of you who saw, I guess it would be the previous episode, you guys know the, I was going to say, the only exhibit currently in the museum, Thunder Thighs the Magnificent, was an electrified creeper that I managed to discover. Someone gave him a potato as an offering, apparently, that I managed to discover on the server very recently. I guess that was yesterday. I don't know where it is relative to these videos airing. Yeah, but let's see. I've been on the server a week. I managed to find a golden apple in a dungeon. Managed to find and trap an electrified creeper with the help of everybody, especially Blitz and Fixer. Fixer is our server host, to help trap the electrified creeper. And yeah, built a fully functioning witch farm and have 3 different types of potions, despite the fact that we haven't been to the nether yet. All in all, I would say it's a pretty productive first week. I can't even speak, I'm so excited. I've been having a whole lot of fun, and yeah, looking forward to building and interacting with all these folks a bit more. I think even though it's a pretty short video, I'm going to go ahead and call the video here. Hope that you guys are having a great day, and I will see you again soon with more time on the Strangelands server. Bye-bye.